So let's get started. We do have quite a few people in here with us. So everybody, thank you so much for joining us for our Medisoft best practices for this month. So let's move on a little bit. So normally this is hosted by our president and CEO, Robert Gabriel, but he has passed the baton to me for today. So unfortunately, I'm the only one that you're getting along with Rosemary. My name is Kim Vargas. I'm one of the product experts with Microwise Technology, and we're going to be going through some of the new features that have been added to Medisoft and some things that can just really help your practice. So quickly, we do have a disclaimer. Microwise can't be held responsible for any information you learn today. You want to make sure to just double check anything that we are presenting, and we can't be held liable for any loss of revenue that you may experience for not verifying information. So our agenda today, we're going to take a look at merging patient charts, custom pop-ups, current co-payments, co-insurances, and deductibles, and where you can actually see those within the Medisoft software, easier practice selection, and then right at the end, we're going to have our lovely Rosemary come in and just give us some information about Vosita, which is a web program that will interact with Medisoft and your appointments and things along those lines. So she'll get into that towards the end. So let's get going. So the first thing that is relatively new in Medisoft is patient merge. So I know there are a lot of practices where, maybe somebody didn't realize that the patient was already in the software or something else along those lines, and you end up accidentally with two charts for the exact same patient. Well, Medisoft now has the ability to actually merge those charts together, and you can do it on your own. So I'm just going to swap my screen here so that we can pop into the actual Medisoft software. Fantastic. So under our tools that we have here, we can go right here to merge patients. And it does give you a quick warning here that you cannot reverse a patient merge. So you want to make sure that you are sure that you're doing it for the correct patient before you continue. And it's very simple. All you have to do is select the patient that you're merging to where you want it to merge into. And then when you click merge now, it will push all of that information together for you. So one thing you do want to make sure of is just that we don't have anybody else with the patient's chart open at that current time. So it may be easiest to do this early in the morning or later in the afternoon when you know that people are not actively working in patients' charts. But it definitely will help to clean up your database and make sure that you have the most accurate information. And this especially helps in terms of following up on your claims and sending out patient statements, because you know that they will be getting the most accurate patient balances when you're sending that out. So that is definitely a new tool that really does help us. So that is the basic information on our patient merge tool. The next thing that we have is a patient alert code, which is something that you can add into the patient's demographic information, and it will pop up on the screen just like this. So they will come up with whatever it is that you've listed into the patient alerts. And you do have a tool under your lists function, which I will show you in a moment, where you can create any type of patient alerts that you want to use. So if you have ones where you're not billing the patients, or if there's a specific way that you need to bill their insurance, you can put any of that information in there. If a patient has a large overdue balance, you could create a patient alert for that, and that will kind of ease in being able to collect, or for maybe your other office staff to see that the patient does have a large open balance when they're coming in for service. So this is all in Medisoft. So the first area would be under your lists. You can go to patient alert codes right here. And this is where you can actually create your patient alert codes. So you can make the code whatever you would like. You can add your description in here. So maybe we have a balance and we want to say large open balance. And you can actually select where this is going to display. So you can have it come up in office hours, which would be especially helpful for collecting those balances when patients come in, or if you need to update their insurance. You do have it where you can use it in transaction entry. So if it's in reference to a particular way for billing patients' insurance. So you do have a lot of different options that you can utilize. And when we save that, we would add it into our patients' accounts by going under their demographics. So if we select a particular patient, we're going to edit their demographics. And we're going to move over to this other information tab. And this is where it gives us our options for patient alerts. So you would select the dropdown and say, this is the patient alert that we want on this particular patient. And one of the other benefits of it as well is that you don't necessarily need to come back here to remove those alerts. So if the patient came in, paid their balance, it can be removed relatively easily from the pop-up window where it comes up. So you can see we have this red X here where it says delete from patient. and that will take it away. So it is a very easy function to use, and it will help kind of streamline everything that you're doing within your practice. Now, the next thing that we want to talk about is 5 ways to improve your cash flow utilizing copayments, coinsurances, and deductibles, which can be kind of a point of contention for a lot of practices, where we have deductibles that are outstanding and patients are not paying, or, you're sending out multiple statements and they're not responding to any of those. So we do have quite a few ways that we can actually help that process with Medisoft, and these are some of the relatively new features. So let's go through our list of what we're going to talk about first. So we do have a real-time enhanced eligibility. You do have the option of asking upfront for the deductible, which can be a little bit difficult for a lot of patients, but utilizing the eligibility verification can make that easier because it will actually show you what the remaining open deductible is for that patient. Sending statements is another way. Obviously, most practices do send statements, but we want to make sure that we're sending them at least once a month. And you can actually increase that with Medisoft. There is something called a billing cycle where you can send statements throughout the month if you want to do it once every 2 weeks or once a week, and it will not duplicate statements within a 28-day period. And we say 28 days because of February. It is a little bit of a less month, so we want to make sure that they're going out at least one time a month to each patient. There is the option of also doing online payment collection. We do work closely with a company called BillFlash, which is a statement managing software, but they do also have the capability of processing patient payments online, and they can send statements to patients through email and I believe through text message as well. And it will bring them to a secure portal where they can make payment, and that will come directly to you. The 5th one is taking credit cards. So it is, the fees are pretty crazy with credit cards, especially in today's day and age, but it does make it a lot easier for patients to make payments to you, whether it's over the phone, using an online portal like BillFlash or something along those lines, even if they come into office to make payment. Most people nowadays are not carrying cash. A lot of people have stopped using check payments, things along those lines. So it is something that will make it quite a bit faster for you to be able to collect those payments. Now, let's take a look at what these things actually mean for using the Medisoft software. Now, there is the ability of using the real-time eligibility. So this will come in the software. If you are using the scheduler, you can do it directly from the schedule. So you have the ability to right-click on a patient and run your eligibility verification from here. There is the option of running it automatically the night before. So you can come in and just review the eligibility verification that has been done. You can also do it manually directly from the software. If we go into the patient's case, we have the eligibility option right here. Now, with the upgraded eligibility, you are able to see the eligibility information right in our case, in our transaction entry, and in the appointment list as well. So that is what this little area is right here. So it's actually going to show you the copayment amount, if there's a coinsurance amount, and what the remaining deductible is from the last run eligibility request. And it's important to note that it says remaining deductible. So this is not showing you what their total deductible is, but only what is left. So that will be your best bet at collecting the deductible upfront and kind of lowering how many statements you're going to be sending and how many times you're going to have to send them to the patient to receive that payment back. So the next place that I mentioned was the transaction entry. You can see it right up here. So this is going to be showing you the same information from the eligibility verification. And if we were to go over to office hours, you can see it on the bottom here as well. So this is another thing that can be used by either billing staff or front desk staff as the patients are being checked in to make sure that we are collecting everything that is required from the patients before they're seen. So before we even have to send out statements, which will reduce costs for the practice as well if you don't have to send the statement at all. Now, moving back over to our PowerPoint here. So this is just a quick shot from the case as well to be able to see what the figures of the eligibility will actually look like there. So it does give you all of that information, and it will update if you are running the eligibility more than once. And the other thing that we had to discuss was the easy switch between practices. So this is only going to be for cloud providers, and this is available if you are using the web application for the software. So there will be a little drop down at the bottom where you can actually select which practice you want to be in. So it is a little bit faster from the standard applications or from the local versions of the software, but that is an additional tool as well that Medisoft has. Now, moving on to Vosita. So we do have Rosemary Bright on the line with us, and she worked with MicroWise, particularly working with Vosita. So she is going to come on to share a little bit of information about that and how it can help your practice. Rosemary, would you like to share your screen to be able to go through?
Yes, absolutely. Kim, thank you so much for that lovely introduction. So once again, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. My name is Rosemary Bright, and I'm here with presenting to you today Vosita, which is our online appointment solution. Here's my contact information. Should you have any questions after today's meeting, you're welcome to call or email me directly. I will show the slide later down the road. So our purpose, why Vosita? What's the intention behind us? And the idea is our sole purpose is to connect providers and their patients whenever and wherever they are. With that being said, with all the changes in healthcare, we wanted to give patients the flexibility to seek care from anywhere, whether they're home or perhaps in the middle of the night, they all of a sudden they become ill and they want to schedule an appointment with their doctor the next morning. We are giving patients a platform where they can easily go on to Vosita.com and search for availability. They can search based on providers, specialty, location, and even insurance. And I'll take you through the website in a little bit and give you a better overview. But the idea is it's a platform where patients can go online, search for care, and they can make appointment requests all directly through Vosita.com. Why Vosita? Well, again, it was designed and created by a company you trust, Microwise Technology. It is free for both patients and providers. It is a service that is integrated with Medisoft version 27. If you're interested in learning more about the options or how to move forward with the implementation, again, please contact me directly and we can certainly go through the process and get you all started. Our platform also includes free telemedicine. Again, healthcare is changing and we want patients to be able to get care wherever, whether it's from the convenience of their living room or going on site to a doctor's office. So telemedicine is a great integrated tool that's built into Vosita. It's easy to create availability. What's even nicer is as a staff member, your front office team will have the ability to log on to office hours, create a template. And once that template is created in office hours, it will be available on Vosita.com. So any patient, whether it's your existing patient or a new patient that's on Vosita, can easily select and book an appointment in your office. It's a great marketing tool. What I mean with this is being online, you have the flexibility to attract new patients. Vosita, we constantly get, many visits a day, new patients registering or existing patients looking to book an appointment. It's a great way to expose your practice to the online world, to the virtual world, and attract new patients to your practice. It reduces the number of no-show appointments. A great tool. Vosita does offer an integrated appointment reminder and patient communication tool. So again, it sends those reminders automatically. So no need to have a staff member pick up the phone and confirm the appointments the day before. Some companies, some medical offices also have a third-party company that automatically does your appointment confirmation. Again, if you're using Vosita, any appointments booked through Vosita are automatically going to get those confirmation reminders and alerts. It's an additional helpful tool for your front office team. Again, a couple of the points that I've mentioned already is helping them with confirmations, helping with appointment of eligibility, and so on and so forth. And last but not least, it's a great revenue tool. Everybody knows an appointment missed is lost revenue. So by utilizing Vosita and some of the built-in features, it will allow you to confirm and get that patient in the door or connect with that patient through telemedicine. So it's a win-win for all. This is the look of Vosita.com. If you're interested after today's seminar, feel free to call me. You can also go to Vosita.com, and this is basically what your patient or provider experience will look like. You can search by specialty or provider, as I mentioned, address type. You can choose a plan, specific date of service that you're looking for, and then you can indicate whether it's a virtual visit. You can simply select this little checkbox, or if you leave it blank, it'll just give you your office visits and you'll hit search. So as a patient, as a provider, as I said, our services are free. First thing that's really important to know is you need to create a profile. Let's quickly jump into how the interface works. Again, you're in office hours. Again, a solution you already know. So you would go through the motions of creating a template where you would select, what the time frame is, what days of the week. You can even associate a color to the appointment slot. Once that availability is created in office hours, it will be available on Vosita.com. So as I said before, the patient experience, you're going to register. It's a free account. You're going to enter some basic demographic data, and that will be stored. What's great is that you can store this information along with a picture of your insurance card, and it'll be available for you to reference for a specific appointment or for future appointments that you choose to book through Vosita. In terms of my patient experience, once I've put in my criteria, my provider, my specialty, and I hit search, a list of available appointments will come up. In this case, again, this is a demo database, so I'm just showing you some screenshots. As a patient, you would select the appointment time that makes sense for you, that works best. Once you do that, you will get an email notification confirming that the appointment request has been received. It'll contain the provider's information, again, confirming the date and time that you've selected, the provider address, and you can even get directions directly from the email that you receive. This is a quick little snapshot of my patient profile. So you could see it has my basic information. It will also keep track of my appointments, whether it's upcoming, again, future appointments, or if I want to go back and see my past appointments, it'll store that information in the past section. Now, I am well known for being a little absent-minded at times, in the sense that, I'll remember that I went to see my dentist, this year, but maybe I don't remember who it was or when exactly I went. I have the ability to now, because I have my information stored in Vosita, click on past appointments, and I could see exactly when was the last time I went to the dentist, or what was the provider's contact information. So I no longer have to rely on my memory, which sometimes doesn't work that well. So it gives me the ability to keep all of my information, all of my health appointments really organized in one single screen, making it easier to go back and refer to information. Also, on the patient experience side, it's very important to note that you also have the ability to review your experience with that provider. Maybe it was my first time going to a specific dentist and I didn't like that there was a long wait time, or perhaps I fell in love with how friendly the staff was, and I want to make sure that my experience is shared so that other people that are considering to book an appointment with this practice will have the ability to hear about my experience before booking. So provider, patient reviews, all that is built into our platform. Again, making it easier for patients to select your practice online and book an appointment. What happens in Medisoft version 27? So again, as a patient, I booked my appointment on Vosita.com. That information, because of the integration, it's going to update your office hours. So it'll show that the appointment's no longer available. It'll contain my basic contact information. In addition to all this, the staff will also get an email with the appointment details. So typically what I suggest, being in my past, I worked for a medical office and I was the front desk person. One of the things that you always want to keep in mind is, although the technology is handling that appointment for you, you always want to make sure that you validate your information. So this would be no different than if the patient picked up the phone and called you for the first time. You want to make sure that the information that's being shared with you is accurate. Perhaps you want to run the eligibility feature that's built into Medisoft, as Kim showcased that earlier. So you want to make sure that you do your due diligence to make sure that A, yes, you do participate with that insurance, and B, that appointment time is still available, as it should in Medisoft. In the event that appointment doesn't work for you, you always have the ability to pick up the phone, call the patient, and reschedule or select a different time that works best for both parties. So we've talked about how the patient experience going online and booking, and how your information is stored in a single profile. Well, for the provider or the staff experience, there's a similar screen through Vosita.com. So you would log in with your practice credentials. If you would select on the top right-hand corner of the drop-down, click on appointments, it will give you a list of upcoming appointments. Again, upcoming, and it also organizes it based on past visits. What's really nice here is it'll organize the data for you, and it will actually even indicate whether there's a telemedicine visit or it's an in-office visit. As a provider, if it's a telemedicine visit, all I have to do to initiate that communication with the patient is select this little icon here, which is an indication for telemedicine. And then I could send a secure link or code to the patient's mobile phone, and I could connect with them on the spot. If it's an office visit, the visit will be identified by this little icon here, as well as the location will be, your facility. In this case, I'm in Paramus. So it's really easy. Our purpose here was to create something that was easy to navigate, pretty self-explanatory. I mean, I can give it to my 10-year-old and she can create a profile and log in and schedule visits, for me. So it's really simple to use. Lastly, so we've gone through your provider experience, the profile. It's really important. Let me just backtrack for a second. Here where it says, no insurance. If the patient does have the insurance, again, the provider or a staff member could select that insurance, and then they would get the patient details along with the insurance details. All that is built into Vosita. So again, contact information, if there's any type of special notes that the patient wants to communicate to the office staff, you have the ability to indicate that as well. If the provider chooses to, this is an additional free service, is they can get those notifications sent directly to their cell phone as well. So you can get email communication that an appointment has been booked, and you can also get an SMS. So lastly, Vosita is a tool. It's going to help you create more revenue, attract new patients. It's going to give your patients the flexibility of scheduling. So as a busy mom and working full time, sometimes it's really hard to take a break and call during normal business hours. Vosita allows patients and practices to stay open really for 24/7. So your business is open 24/7, allowing patients to go search and book online. There's a great tool that we recommend and that we promote is linking Vosita to your website. So let's say my website is Paramus Medical. You go to Paramus Medical, you're going to click on an option that says book now. You're going to click that. It's going to automatically bring you to your profile on Vosita.com. So you have complete visibility of your scheduling hours, and the patient can book directly from there. So there's no guessing games. It's a direct link. And once again, it is free for both patients and providers. So with that being said, I want to say thank you once again for having me today, Kim. It was a real pleasure. If anybody's interested in creating a profile, whether it's as a patient or practice, my contact information is on the screen. Is there any questions, concerns, comments? I'd love to hear from the audience. Awesome.
All right. Thank you so much, Rosemary. That was a great presentation. Now I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen one more time for you guys. So that was essentially the bulk of what we had to show you, but please feel free if anybody has any questions, whether it's about the presentation we have or the software in general, feel free to unmute yourself or you can write in the chat. Just as a note, we are recording this seminar and it will be available online within the next few days. So if anybody came in late or if there's anything that you wanted to see again, that will be available for you to review on our website. So, you'll have that at your disposal as well. But feel free if anybody has any questions, you can go ahead and ask now.
Hey, Kim, actually, I'm sorry. I have one
little thing
that I forgot to mention. Again, linking it back to your presentation earlier. We talked about linking Vosita to your website. The other thing that you can do, which is a great tool, is also adding a notes to your patient statement so that your patients will they'll know that you are on Vosita and they could use that as a scheduling option as well. So just wanted to mention that to the team here and as another way of letting your patients know that you're on Vosita.com. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a really great point. Okay, well, if nobody has any other questions, I am going to have Robert's contact information on here. So if there's anything that you think of afterwards, if there's any questions that you have, you can feel free to reach out directly. This is his email and his phone number. You can reach out with any questions or anything that you might need from us. But otherwise, if we have no questions, thank you everybody so much for joining. I hope you all have a great rest of your day and weekend, and we'll see you on our next seminar.
Great. Thank you. Have a good one.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.